Welcome to the Anxiety Connection. If you've ever struggled with anxiety and are ready to finally get some answers, you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is Wendy Leeds, and I've suffered with anxiety my entire life. Thankfully, I'm also a psychotherapist, and over the years, I've learned a lot about anxiety, where it comes from, and how to manage it. That's what this podcast is all about. So, let's grab a cup of tea and talk about it. I love what I do. And you know why? It's because of you and your incredible support. I want to thank you all of you, for your wonderful responses, your amazing comments, and your questions. Thanks so much for sharing your stories, your challenges, what you've overcome, and the fears you're still working on. We're still working on. I cannot tell you how you all inspire me with your courage, your compassion, and your strength. You are amazing. And thank you so much for letting me know how the tools and techniques I talk about here have helped you. I am beyond honored to know I can make even a small difference in your life. That's why I do this podcast. That's why I wrote the book. And that's why I get up in the morning for you, for us, for this community that we're building together. And I want you to know I read every single comment you make. And more importantly, I listen to those comments. I hear you. And boy, over these past few months, you have given me a lot to think of. I've got to say, a picture is starting to emerge for me from your incredible feedback and learning what's important to you, what works for you, and most importantly, how I can better help to ease your anxiety. Let me say to ease our anxiety. And it's given me a whole new direction and a clearer idea of what I'm going to do next. I cannot tell you, I am so excited about these new projects. I just can't wait to share them with you. But first, I want to stop and say thank you again, because I know for sure none of this would be possible without your participation, especially these new wonderful projects would never be possible without you, your willingness to listen, to take action, and now to move us all in a new direction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would also like to give you credit for showing up here, for showing up for yourself. This is tough work. Believe me. I know this kind of work requires strength and patience and courage. This is not for the faint of heart. And here you are showing up with me. And here we are together taking it on. And I want to acknowledge you for that, for your strength. And now you may have heard me say this before, because I believe this absolutely. I believe anxious people are the strongest people on the planet, because for us, for you and I, you and me, for us, just getting out of bed on those tough mornings can be a tremendous act of courage. And look where we are. Look at what we're accomplishing together here. And I want to thank you for that. But more importantly, I want to acknowledge you for that. And I hope that you'll acknowledge yourself for being the amazing human being we both know you are. You are amazing. And I am so glad you're here. Okay, so now what? Well, now I'm going to start putting your feedback, all those great suggestions and comments, I'm going to start putting them to work in a way that I hope will better support you and to help others have the same success you've been having. And I'm going to ask for your help here. What I've learned is I cannot do this alone. I could use some help. And I know a lot of you are already doing this, but I'm going to ask, I'm hoping that you will help me by spreading the word about this community here that we're building together. And I would love for you to reach out to the people in your life you know could really use a hand. There are so many anxious people in the world today, especially this year. And I would love to be able to connect with them to say, hey, you're not alone and you don't have to suffer in silence anymore. I know in my life, I have spent way too much time suffering in silence, pretending I was okay when I was not. And it's my dream to reach as many people as possible, as many anxious people as possible, and say to them, you know what? You don't have to suffer. There's a different way. There's hope for this. We can do this together. You know, everywhere I go, I tell people that I suffer from anxiety and that I'm passionate about helping people feel better. And you know what people say back to me almost without exception? Me too. I'm anxious, but don't tell anybody. Or my sister's so anxious she can't even leave the house anymore. Or my daughter's afraid to go to school. Or I almost never see my grandchildren because I'm afraid to fly. There are so many of us suffering in silence, afraid of what people might think or say about us, afraid that people will judge us for our fears. And it's time we stopped pretending that we're okay when we're not. It's time we step up and say, enough is enough. It's time we start helping each other. So if there's someone in your life who could use this podcast or my book, please, please don't let them suffer in silence anymore. Share the podcast, recommend my book, Common Sense, to them. And we've made it as easy as we could. There are links in the show notes for you to share. But if you want to just type it in, the podcast is at wendyleeds.com/podcast. And the book is at wendyleeds.com/book. I love how easy we've made it for you. Look, it's time we stopped suffering in silence. It is time we buddied up and we took this on once and for all. Let's get down to business and let's get busy making changes in our life. All right, so what's ahead? Let me take a breath. All right, what's ahead? First of all, I don't want to disappoint you. I feel like I may, but we're going to be closing up shop over the summer here at the Anxiety Connection. We're going to need to take some time to tackle some really exciting new projects. I'm going to miss you. I am so going to miss being with you, hearing from you, but I promise we're coming back in September and we're going to be better than ever. All right, let's take a peek into the future. You know, I've been thinking a lot about how people learn, how we're so different. And as a one-time teacher, I know we learn differently. We're hands-on learners, auditory learners, visual learners. There are so many different learning styles. And I know how important it is to be able to offer a variety of paths to the same place, to present information in as many ways as possible, to reach as many people as possible. And I've been thinking about this for a while. What are we missing? I knew there was something missing, and I know what it is. What we've been missing is something for people who are looking for a little more guidance about how to make this happen, something to reduce that sense of being overwhelmed with how to take the information we see or hear and put it to work in our lives. Something that helps us all kind of believe that, gee, maybe I can take care of this anxiety, ease this anxiety. Maybe it's not an impossible dream, some airy fairy thing that I talk about. Maybe I can actually do that. And the reality is, you can. Everybody can. What we need is the right roadmap. And so, my big project that I'm already working on is that roadmap. It's a new online course which is going to allow me to share information in a different way. It's a more hands on approach to soothing our anxiety. All right, so I'm going to share a little bit of what I've come up with. First of all, this course is going to be structured and sequenced. So it takes us through the information step by step, little steps guiding you through the challenge of change, step by step. It's a back to basics course, a guide helping you really understand your anxiety, not anybody else's, what makes your anxiety work, and then taking that map and getting on the road to healing it. Secondly, this is about mapping out a course we can all follow in our own ways, and that allows for accountability. We're working together or apart, we're setting goals, and then we're moving towards a goal. And whether we do it together or you work it through with a friend, or set your own goals and go your own way, having this step-by-step process helps keep us on track. And there's nothing more important than the doing and the following through. This is about following through and making sure you accomplish what you set out to do. Lastly, I'm going to be able to offer you some incredible resources, download self-assessments, which you're going to be able to do right online in the moment. And it's going to help you get a better understanding of what's making you so anxious, and how to deal with it. I mean, this is just hands on. As I said, already at work on this, and I just cannot wait to tell you more about it in the fall. Gotta wait. But that's not all. Nope. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the second project I'm tackling this summer is, if I could have a drum roll, because I can't believe I'm going to say this, I'm planning to write a second book. I've shared with you before the story of what led me to write my first book. It was not in my plans at all. I've shared that I wrote Common Sense because I could not find a book on anxiety the book to keep beside my bed, a book that I could pick up and read whenever I felt anxious, keep it with me in the car, wherever I went. I wanted that information night and day nearby. So when I felt anxious, I could reach out, get a solution to help me feeling better right away in the moment. Could not find that book. I wanted a book that was just filled with tools and techniques to bust through anxiety that healthcare professionals could prescribe as the first step in treating anxiety. Doctors have the diets and the lifestyle changes for, high blood pressure. I wanted a book that they could hand over and say, maybe you're not going to try medication. Do some of this first. Even better, they could hand the book over with the prescription and say, do both. Because the book works no matter whether you're on medication or not. It works either way. I also wanted a book by and for anxious women everywhere. I could not find the book. So I was forced, no, I chose to write it. It took me 6 years, Common Sense. And when I finished it, I just lay down and thought, well, not doing that again. End of that period, done. But then the pandemic happened. 2020, the year of anxiety, no doubt about it. Anxiety is much more prevalent and intense than it was a couple years ago, and it's not over. We're still dealing with change and worry and fear. We're still anxious. What's going to happen next? We are all, and more of us even more of us than usual, are suffering. We're worried, we're anxious. And you know what? I find that unacceptable. No one should be suffering in silence. And it's time to do something about it. It's time that someone, that's how it always starts. Someone should fix this. Well, I've been thinking, I have learned so much from you. Your responses, your feedback have given me a much clearer idea of what concerns you about your anxiety and how I can help you through the process and how I can help myself through the same process. I have learned over the past few years new techniques, new tools for dealing with our fears. And I have some amazing new stories of courage and inspiration I cannot wait to share with you. So I can't believe it, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a book that supports us through the process. So that's the plan for the next few months. So much to look forward to. Again, thank you for helping me get clarity and setting me on the path of exciting new ventures. I could not do this without you. And I'd like to wrap up this episode by saying this is our season finale. But as I said, back in September, new season, brand new information, new ideas, new energy, a whole new direction. But we can still keep touching over the summer if you'd like. I'm going to be here. Please feel free to reach out with questions, comments, concerns. Love to hear from you. And you can reach out on Facebook, Instagram, or you can send me a message at wendyleeds.com/contact. That's this is my name. I should be able to spell it. WENDYLEEDS.com/CONTACT. And as always, we'll make sure that that's included with the links at the end of the podcast. So you can just click on it and it will magically take you where you wish to go. Little magic carpet on the internet. I just want to end by saying, I don't want you to worry that I'm just going to be working all summer long. I also plan to eat my share of ice cream. No, that's a lie. I'm going to eat way more than my share of ice cream. So you're on your own if you want to have ice cream. I plan to spend some time with my family, and I'm looking forward to long rides in our little MG. Our MG is orange, and we call her Julie because that's her name. And we just go all over the place in Julie. I plan to spend time near the ocean. You know, I love the water. And I'm just going to take some time for me. And I hope you'll do the same. Take time for yourself. I hope you will nourish yourself and you'll nourish those important in your life. We have all been through one tough year. It's been traumatic for so many of us. And the truth is, it takes time to recover from that kind of trauma. So it's really important to remember that feeling better is going to take time. There is no more important work right now than taking care of yourself. And I hope that you will spend the next few months doing just that. All right. I'm sending you love and support throughout the summer. And I look forward to seeing you again in September. And until then, until we're together again, I wish you peace, joy, and love. Thanks so much for being here with us today at the Anxiety Connection. If you'd like to be a part of the Anxiety Connection, we would so love to have you join us. Just subscribe and you're in. It's that easy. Now, if you found today's message helpful in any way, I would be so honored if you'd leave us a review. And if you haven't heard, my new book has been published. It's called Calm and Sense, A Woman's Guide to Living Anxiety-Free. And it's full of tools and techniques you can use to help ease your anxiety, soothe your panic, and create a calm, centered peace in your heart and in your life. If you'd like to learn more about how this book can help you, or grab a copy for yourself, you'll find a link to the book in the show notes or on my website, wendyleeds.com. And if you know someone in your life who's struggling with anxiety, why not pick up a copy for them too? What a thoughtful gift for someone who might be going through a tough time. Thanks again for being here, and I look forward to being together with you real soon.